It is 5 o'clock straight up, and this is week 6, the final week for business law, and this will be the final lecture, and I am going to take time to go over the assignments. I'm also going to let you know that all grades will be posted by Monday night or Tuesday at the latest, and that all assignments must be turned in by Friday the 14th, 2 days from now, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, or else they will not be accepted. They will not be graded. You will not get any points for it, no matter how good the assignment is. So it is very, very, very important that you get everything done. So let's go ahead and let's get right into the session for today. Back to the course homepage, which you're familiar with. And let's see what we have here for Module 6 written assignment. Time for reflection. And you're going to follow each of these instructions. Make sure that you do everything that it says in order to get your full 30 points. Very, very important. And the brochure talks about, it tells you what you're going to provide also. Okay? Make sure you complete that. Proper grammar, proper spelling, everything. And then that's it with your discussion post. As you can see, we are in week 6 lecture. So let's take a look at the announcement for the week. Ethics and business law. I tell you that I taught ethics and business a few years ago at the college here on a residential level. Very interesting topic. We'll talk about some of those things. Read chapters 9 and 12 of the textbook, and then the sections on technology, strategy, management reflection on the Toyota debacle. Interestingly, a new Toyota dealership is just to my left here, where I am outside where we live on the main street. A brand new company, a brand new location. Anyway, complete the activities, ethics and the law, and then take a look at your flashcards, which I've been stressing to you since the beginning of the quarter. Then your discussion post, which was due last night, your initial post, from unethical to illegal. Many of you have done pretty well with that. And then your reply post is due Friday, this Friday. It is very important. You'll see down here further. Your written assignment for reflection. Pay close attention to the rubrics. All written assignments are due Friday, September 14th, which is 2 days from now. And then it reminds you again that the quarter officially ends at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Then I ask you to take time to complete the end of quarter evaluations that you received in your email. So now let's take a look at the calendar. And here's your reading assignment. There's your initial post. Remember, I told you if you click on that, it opens it up. Your initial post, and then your reply post, and your written post, And then, like I said, your reply post and then your written assignment, and reminding you again on the calendar that the quarter ends. So you have no excuse to say, well, I thought it was going to be the 16th. Nope, it is the 14th. So anything after the 14th is zero, no matter how good it is. Very important. Let's take a look at the module again. See the assignments. We click on that. There we go. So tells you what you're going to have to do. Read it in detail. You're going to have to do everything from 1 through 5. And then one of the things is creating a brochure. Now, because this does not say APA, you should have APA in it. But I will not take away points. But I do encourage you as a habit to put it in there anyway, because this particular assignment doesn't really call for it. But you want to make sure that you do a little research, come up with some information, and if you do use a source, then give credit for it. Do not use the textbook alone. I repeat to you. Then your discussion, and then your live classroom, okay? Enter your response from the live classroom this week, and you know what that will be in a little while, okay? Because this is not going to be a very long lecture. Because in this class, you don't have an exam, so you don't have to worry about that. So let's again look at the lesson content. Ethics. So ethics and the law, we're going to talk about. And you know, technology strategy and management reflection on the Toyota debacle, you can take a look at that on your own. Okay, that's an ethical study, but you can take time to look at that on your own. I'm not going to open that up. But I am going to talk about ethics and the law for the period that we have left at the end. So, ethics and law, from safer work conditions to safer products, making the right business decision. There's a lot of situations. We have the consumer organization that looks out for employees, consumers. We have OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, to deal with the Occupational Safety and Health Act, and to provide protection for employees that are working, so that you're working in good conditions. So throughout this country, employee safety has been a big thing. And one of the reasons it is because of the fact that a company who provides a dangerous environment for employees to work also probably will be a company that produces shoddy products as well. And so the employees are entitled to be protected during their work. They have the right tools. If they have to wear masks, if they have to wear gloves, and or either hazmat suits or whatever they have to wear, they have to make sure that they're properly dressed. And so as a result of that, in 1970, the OSHA said that all workers are entitled to safe conditions. And you know, it is an ethical issue that many of you have identified in the discussion forum this week, that employees are subjected to dangerous work conditions in other countries. And so you have properly brought out the fact that with ethics and business, that there are companies, and Nike is guilty of that, and many others. So it's not just Nike that will export their employees for cheaper wages. Down in Mexico, same thing. And so the conditions that many of these people work, they're paid less money. They are paid even below what we would consider as the minimum wage here. They don't have the protection of having a safe working condition there. And these people are subject to hazards and frequent workplace injuries because of the conditions. So there are sanctions. There are issues. If you click on this, and I'm just going to click on it for just a minute here and show you where it talks about OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and how to contact them. It talks about keeping workers safe, and it provides a lot of resources and tools to protect them. So you can take time to go over this on your own time, but I just wanted to open it up and show it to you. And then if you do violate the law and you find yourself in a situation, they talk about some of the things that can happen, such as this memo or release for Region 5, which is right here in Illinois. And so it is really, really, really very important and very serious thing when people have a problem working and getting their jobs done, okay? And it tells how they're protected. The Department of Labor is who handles that. So then we talk about safe products. The public is entitled to products, and they're oftentimes the individuals there are recalls all the time on items that may cause injury, and or what we call products liability cases. And here are a few. Toyota, I was just talking about that a few minutes ago, and so I'm not going to open that one up because that's going to call for me logging in. And then Mattel, who makes toys. So you can take time to look at those. But be aware that the right business decision, as far as we're concerned, is to produce products that people can afford, have employees work in an environment that is safe, and also the toys or products that are safe to individuals and not harmful to individuals. So we know that Mattel makes toys and that children are at risk in those. There are always car seats being recalled. Cars almost all the time now, not just Toyotas, but cars, period, are being recalled on a regular basis. And you've probably seen sometimes the little card that you get in the mail that tells you that your vehicle is subject to recall. So we want to make sure that you understand the importance of safety that takes place there. I remember when I was teaching business ethics, we talked about companies that didn't produce everything. For example, I'll use this example. One of the studies that we had was involving Taco Bell, and we discovered, based upon the research and the sessions that we had, that when they have beef, Usually, you have to read very carefully. It's not 100% beef. It's mixed with other fillers. Now, in the law, the way it was, and they're hopefully changing it, that somewhere around 40% of the actual meat that you eat there consists of fillers. And fillers, they said the act that regulates that organization or dealing with the food, they would allow it. And so as a result, there are times when people would get sick. However, the point of the matter is that they said the level of fillers that they had were considered as legal. So here's the point. There are times when things are legal, but it's not ethical. So when you as a customer go to buy something that you think is all beef, and it's not all beef, then it's misleading the public. And then who knows what items are in there, if there may be some allergies in there. We're in an era now where we have peanut allergies. When I came up, we didn't have those. And so there's warnings now that have to be put on packages to let you know that peanuts may be involved in a product. So the bottom line is that the public is entitled to know and to be informed as to what the contents are. Labeling and packaging has changed tremendously in the years in the 60s and the 70s, all the way now until where we are in 2018. Have to make sure that there's detailed information on the labels for the packages. So the key thing is to protect consumers. But businesses will, to save a buck, include whatever the minimum standards that or the maximum of fillers or whatever else that is allowed in the products. And as a result, you're not surprised at the recalls and the things that take place in those situations. So basically, when it comes down to it, it's not illegal, but it's unethical. Because you think about it, would you want your child or your family to ingest something that you probably wouldn't want yourself to have? And so those are just some of the considerations. So put together these two laws, the OSHA Act and then the Consumer Protection Act, Consumer Protection Agency that deals with, and there's the Department of Agriculture that's involved as well. Then you find yourself in a situation where the government has the responsibility of being the watchdog over these agencies. And it is so important that consumers be informed about what it is that they're getting so that their expectation level is not harmed. Okay? So that's about all I really have to say about that. The point of the matter is that it's very, very, very important that we begin to understand in the business world that we not only have to obey the law, but we should also consider the perspective of the average person who doesn't know the law, and that we should operate at a high level of ethics. I have often said that ethics is something that you learn growing up. It has to do with integrity and honesty. Well, that should carry over in terms of the business world as well. So you got situations where insider trading, like what happened with Martha Stewart. You have some of the oil dumping into the water, garbage dumping and things like that to adversely affect our natural resources, those kind of things. Sometimes they are illegal, but people aren't getting caught. So it's illegal and unethical. But again, think about it. Keep continuing to think about it. If you're a business owner and business operator in the future, you want to make sure that you not only operate within the law, but set and establish ethical principles in order to just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. And you know, I have a sermon I preach at church that there are times when people will do the right thing, but for the wrong reason. And so sometimes providing certain things for people, consumers, is the right thing. But the reason that they're doing it is solely for profit, not giving any consideration or thought to possible side effects that people should be aware of. And you know the way that these things end up getting these labels and all the different things now is by someone bringing a lawsuit, someone actually getting injured. So what we want to do is establish the mindset of not having to wait until someone gets hurt, but to be proactive in terms of how we operate our businesses and allow products that are good for the consumer and not just to make a buck. And the bottom line in business is to finish in the green. But there are times when people will go for that money and don't give any consideration to the effects of whatever product or business that they're doing to the public. So it's time for us to produce people in the business world, which I hope that you will look at your transferable skills, and one of them is ethics, and make sure that you operate that when you do establish your business. And so I'm going to close this session. Told you it was going to be pretty quick. Wasn't going to be long at all. And so I'm going to end by simply saying to you that the word that I'm looking for, or phrase, is business ethics. That's it. Business ethics. I do want to say at the end that it's been my pleasure to have taught you guys for the last 5.5 or 6 weeks. Hope that you've learned a lot about contracts. I hope that you really have a foundation to understand contracts a lot. I gave you at the very beginning the My Legs formula to help you with remembering and never forgetting the contracts that must be in writing to be enforceable. And you learned in this course how to write a contract. And that was what you turned in last week. And some of you did pretty good. I'm still working on grading some of them. And so just hope that you will continue as you move in your career toward obtaining your bachelor's, your master's, and then sometimes doctorate in business, that you will continue to remember that the law is important in business. Also, the entities, the sole proprietorship, the limited partnership, the corporations that are involved. And you want to make sure that you do learn that this is a working knowledge course, but that for advice, anyone who has business should always have an attorney. Make sure that it is an attorney who knows business. I know both sides because I've worked both sides. However, there are some people who've only worked one side, criminal or family, but not business. Make sure that if you do retain an attorney, that attorney is knowledgeable in the area of business law. Make sure that you have a good accountant a certified public accountant, someone who is well versed in the rules and regulations for keeping books and records and things of that nature. And so that's it for now. Again, I've enjoyed this. Some of you I may see. I don't do a lot of business anymore. I'm primarily in criminal justice, but periodically they'll have me teaching this topic, and I've enjoyed it. First time I've taught this 5.5 module. Before I've had 11 weeks, and I can say that they put together a pretty interesting course. They didn't overload you with some of the stuff that was in the 11-week course, and that again, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I wish each of you the best as you continue to move forward in your fields of endeavor. So I'm going to say good afternoon to you. Enjoy the break that's coming up, and look for your grades next week. Any questions between that time, feel free to reach out to me. I think you're at a point now where emails probably wouldn't be sufficient, more text, and I've received some phone calls and talked to a few people to help in case there are some issues that you still have hanging that you want to get clarified. So I'm going to say good night.